Talk about Georgia. Elections taking place there. And Pastor Jamal Bryant, New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, had some strong words to say in the pulpit with regards to the U.S. Senate race between the incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock and, of course, the lying, idiot, bumbling fool Herschel Walker. Check this out.
Ladies and gentlemen, when the Republican Party of Georgia moved Herschel Walker from Texas to Georgia so that he could run for Senate, it's because change was taking too fast in the post-antebellum South. The state had been flipped blue, and there are some principalities that were not prepared for a black man and a Jewish man to go to Senate at the exact same time. So would in fact represent us better with a football than with a degree in philosophy. They thought we were so slow, that we were so stupid, that we would elect the lowest caricature of a stereotypical broken black man as opposed to somebody who is educated and erudite and focused. Y'all ain't ready for me today. Since Herschel Walker was 16 years old, white men been telling him what to do, telling him what school to go to, where to live, where to eat, where to buy a house, where to run, where to sit down, where to sleep, where to pay for abortions, where to buy a gun. And you think they not gonna tell him how to vote? In 2022, we don't need a walker, we need a runner. We need somebody who gonna run and tell the truth about January 6th. We need somebody who gonna run and push for the cancellation of student loan debts. We need somebody who gonna run and make the former president respond to a subpoena. We don't need a walker, we need somebody who will be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding, knowing that your labor is not in vain. Georgia, I need you to know the slave Negroes y'all are used to don't live here no more. We can think for ourselves, function for ourselves, and vote for ourselves. Why? Because we don't need a walker.
Well, can't wait to hear the reaction from our panel. Julianne, you're up first.
I just love that. You know, I was in Georgia this weekend at a conference, and the barrage of pro-Walker ads was amazing. Republicans are spending a lot of money to keep a Walker in there, as Brother Jamal says, we need a runner. It is disgusting, and I think President Obama said it best on Friday when he said, you would not let someone who's excellent at football drive a plane. So why would you let someone who excelled in football go to the United States Senate to make laws when he doesn't even know anything about the legislative process? Jamal Bryant nailed it, but you know, the polls they're very close, but the poll, Melanie Campbell always says, a poll is nothing but a snapshot in time. I believe that Reverend Warnock can pull it off if people get out to vote. That's always a variable, Roland, getting out to vote.
Well, that's just what it boils down to, Lauren, is turnout, turnout, turnout.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, this whole Herschel Walker thing is a very great example of what Republicans really think of black people. Obviously, they think we're completely stupid and that we'll vote for anybody as long as they're black. I mean, that's just what they think. You can't put out Herschel Walker and not be thinking that. I mean, I guess they think we're going to mix up the two black guys at the poll. I mean, you got to be kidding me. So we've seen this before a lot of times. The Herschel Walker example is an extreme example of somebody who's not qualified to be in the United States Senate and is just a real sort of a joke out there. It's insulting on so many levels. It's extremely insulting, not only to black voters, but really to everybody else. And it shows you really, it just shows you that the Republican Party is just really not interested in recruiting and finding a candidate that is qualified to run. They would rather just sort of put up a caricature and fund that caricature to to some extreme extent and get him into the United States Senate. I mean, really, I think in the Herschel Walker example, it's about who they can control once he gets there. They certainly weren't looking for a free thinker. But I mean, if Herschel Walker gets elected to the United States Senate, I'm telling you, Roland, we got a real problem to figure out who's stupider, Tommy Tuberville or Herschel Walker. That is going to be extremely difficult to figure out because
right.
Tuberville
that's like a tie. I mean, that's just dumb and dumber. Jason, New York Times, Siena dropped their poll in 4 states. This is what it shows right now. Arizona, Mark Kelly's up +6 against MAGA Blake Masters. John Fetterman's up 5 against Mehmet Oz there in Pennsylvania. Senator Raphael Warnock up 3 against Herschel Walker. And it's a tight race. Incumbent Catherine Cortez Masto in Nevada, 47, and Adam Laxalt, 47. I mean, if you're Democrats, man, you desperately want to go 4 for 4 in those races. And then if you throw in, of course, the Sherry Beasley in North Carolina, if this poll holds up over the next 8 days, and then of course you got Sherry Beasley, North Carolina, I mean, Democrats will be elated to go 5-0 in these races.
Yeah, I'll say I'm a little worried about Nevada with Laxalt. I think, that's one that I'm not so sure. I mean, if Blake Masters wins in Arizona, I was just in Arizona, then, I mean, I will be just dumbfounded by the fact that Blake Masters was able to beat Mark Kelly. But I think a lot of those races are winnable. I think it's also criminal how little the Democratic Party, at least in terms of their coverage and the people that they pushed out there to the media, how little they talked about Sherry Beasley when she's running a very winnable race. Oh hell,
Chuck Schumer's PAC has put $0 behind Tim Ryan, and he's different polls up 1 or 2. And the Republicans have dropped like $40 million to the state, and so trust me, I'm baffled by some of their decisions as well.
Yeah, I mean, Peter Thiel is funding J.D. Vance. We know J.D. Vance. It's funny how J.D. Vance says, "Hey, I'm from the working class," when in fact he wrote a whole book about how lazy and terrible the working class is. If anybody actually read Hillbilly Elegy. It's really about the laziness of the working class, and now he's all of a sudden trying to paint himself as some working class hero when in fact he's getting $15 million from Peter Thiel. Who do you think is going to control him? The billionaires or the working class? Probably I would put my money, the little bit that I have, on the billionaires. But they haven't put money in there. They keep putting money in Wisconsin, which I think honestly is a tough race to win. I wish Mandela Barnes all the best, but it looks like he's about 3 or 4 points behind Ron Johnson. I understand in the beginning, but now some of those funds in the late push maybe could go to Sherry Beasley. They put a whole bunch into defeating Marco Rubio with I'm sorry.
Val Demings.
But yeah, Val Demings. I'm sorry about that. Val Demings. And that was going to be an uphill climb. So they've kind of calculated this in a way that I think was incorrect. At least, put it into some of these slam dunk races, or at least some really close races like Sherry Beasley. She could actually win that race. But Val Demings, as much as I love Val Demings and probably think she or Stacey Abrams should have been the running mate, in 2020, she's going to have a tough time. That's an incumbent senator.
Well, but here's the deal, though. First of all, look, okay, Democrats are going to have a tough time regardless. All right. They're going to have tough time. But again, if you look at what's happening here, at the end of the day, part of the problem is that Democrats, again, keep fixating on college-educated voters. No, you're going to have to compete for people who are not college educated. You got to have a message that speaks to them as well. That's been one of their failures. And that's why Tim Ryan went off with some consultant who told Politico we should only be spending our money in places where we have college educated voters. Well, guess what? You better compete in the South. You better compete in some of these other places if you want to do so. All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment.
We've got to stand up. Republicans are banning abortion rights, tearing down democracy, blocking progress. But when Democrats stand together, we win. Because we voted, Democrats stood up for black lives, voting to ban police chokeholds, stood up for black women, putting one on the Supreme Court, stood up for our families, lowering cost of health care and prescriptions and capping insulin, and stood up for millions by slashing student debt. This November, let's stand up together and keep making progress.
This is our time, our moment to move forward, beyond the gun violence, the hospital closures, the unaffordable housing. Brian Kemp's Georgia for the wealthiest few. Stacey Abrams is looking out for every Georgian. She'll invest our $6 billion surplus in the fundamentals, education, healthcare, housing, and a good living, putting more money in your pocket to build one Georgia where everyone has the freedom to thrive.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?